Hi everybody, welcome to the Turboganz channel. I'm your Rodelmeister, Rob Young, and this is a special video. It's been 10 years since I've started promoting Rodeling and Rollenrodel on this channel. And some interesting things have happened, a lot has been accomplished. One thing that I hadn't thought about before, but over the years I suddenly realized, is that my home and Teton Basin, Idaho is actually the birthplace of American Rodeling and Rollenrodel. Well, I'd never thought about that before, but hey, it all started in 2012 and it's been going on ever since, and it keeps improving. Now, there's been some interesting accomplishments along the way, and it involves a lot of firsts, and I try not to get too carried away on how many there are, but there are a lot. The first thing I realized was that I was the first one to tell you, number one, what a rodel is, and how the heck you operate it. And not only that, how you maintain it, wax it, sharpen, all that sort of thing. Even Europeans didn't do that, and it's interesting to note that a couple of years after I put out the first video, all of a sudden a very similar video showed up in the German language. And I don't remember whether it was Switzerland or Germany, but anyway, I think it's, well, anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, that's rather flattering, because even in Europe, no one had bothered to, in detail, explain how a rodel works and how you can best pilot it. Some of the things I've done too is, I'm the first one to actually go up to a ski resort and say, hey, how about this? I found in local ski resorts, every once in a while you find a, they call it a slope, I call it a cat track. And cat tracks are narrow, you know, they're not a wide open slope sort of thing. And that's just like the Rodelbahns in Europe. Well, there was one nearby, so I thought, yeah, I'll approach him. They didn't go anywhere. And it's been going like that since. Now, another guy just said, oh, I'm here for you to get ski resorts to accept us. I don't, the way it's being approached is that it would be for open slope rodeling. That's just plain, no. If you're going to spend 120 bucks or more to go down an open slope at a ski resort, put your skis on. For the money, you might as well have those skis on and access the entire mountain. You're going to wind up on the beginner slope, maybe if you're lucky the intermediate slope, if the current state of ski resort sledding would allow you to be on the slopes at all. I'm not a fan of that. One of the things one of my, almost like a mantra that I've come up with over the years is rodeling should be, you know, the rodel itself should be affordable, and you should be able to do it out your back door. If it starts becoming an expensive thing you do, it's lost its reason for being, as far as I'm concerned. Because the most expensive I've ever seen lift service for an entire day, 75 bucks. That's at an upscale resort in Switzerland. And the cost seems to hang around 45 bucks for an entire day, lift serviced. So keep that in mind. I'm the first one to define a rodel. I'm the first one to call it a rodel in this country and tell you what it is. Separated from our mistaken image of luge and Schlitten, things of that nature. We didn't know what they were. I didn't know what they were. And so I had to find out what they were. I mean, I come from a strong ski background. I've been skiing for 50 years, you know, give or take. And I'm a climber and skateboarder, mountain biker. I was a roadie biker for a while. I mean, I have a background like that. My education, essentially, I'm a scientist. I mean, it's geology, biology, psychology. So there we are. That has allowed me to do some really nice adaptations as far as figuring out how things work. And that's what I tried to do for you, is point out, here's how it works. This is why it works. It's not do this, do that. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but somebody says do this, do that. I always say why. So I tried to give you the why. So anyway, the other things that I've shown is you can take that, well, so long as the snow surface is supportive, you can take a Rodel anywhere. That's what I say. You can go out the back door with it, which I do here, literally. And don't let anybody put you down for going down a driveway or a road or across a parking lot. Because I'll go back to that milkshake fruit in Switzerland, once again. If you follow the path that the Rodelbahn takes over there, you get out of the lift, go down a path, through a parking lot, down a driveway, and then onto a subdivision road, which then leads you to the main road, which is closed in the winter, which is the main Rodelbahn. So don't let anybody belittle you about go down your driveway because that's where you belong. Yes, that's where you belong, because that's the way it's been done since Rodeling was put together. So, past that. The Rollenrodel, just to jump into that a minute, is essentially the same thing. And that's why I say, if you're going to get into Rollenrodel, make sure you get the attachment, the rollers that go underneath there. There are 10 on the side. And the wheels are 80 millimeter, if I remember correctly. Anyway, it puts you close to the ground, just like as if you're on the snow. And the Rodel behaves as if it's just on the snow. It's remarkably sensitive to your movements. So if there's a modification of that, bigger wheels and so on, it's not going to act the same. And the whole idea, at least for me, the whole idea is to have a transfer from one surface to another and have the behavior of the Rodel very close to the same. And then when you go back to winter, you've got all those skills that have been reinforced all summer long. And I hope to tell you, Rollenrodeling, it's not its own thing necessarily. It takes you places that you cannot go in the winter, which is nifty. I mean, Beartooth Pass up there in Montana, whoa, it is so way cool. The scenery you can see is just absolutely outstanding. Now, going back to the winter version, I was the first one to show that you could take it into the backcountry. It's not something just for driveways. You can take it into the backcountry. I went down Garnet Canyon, starting from the base of the Southwest Coolbar of Middle Teton in Grand Teton National Park. And in the Jedediah Smith Wilderness, I took it down Table Mountain, which is also in the Jedediah Smith Wilderness. Table Mountain is around 11,000 feet. And I say it's backcountry. No roads, no nothing. Just myself and the Woods Lab and Spring Crust had come together and made a perfect combination. I wish I could do it again. As the Forest Service regulations changed, there may not ever be a practical chance to do it again. So I was very lucky I did it when I did it. But that's the way it is. The neat thing about a Rodel is that you can respond to what's around you if you stay alert. And one of the best places to Rodel, winter I'm talking about now, in snow, is snowmobile trails. Snowmobile trails are wonderful. Of Cross-country ski trails, I don't know. If it's a dedicated cross-country ski trail, I don't know if that's really smart. Those tend to be rather narrow, and I'm sure cross-country skiers wouldn't really appreciate you zipping by them at 30 miles an hour or more. I mean, it's just, I don't think it's really the appropriate place to be. Snowmobilers, on the other hand, around here, they almost pat you on the back. They're entertained, and they love to see us out there, and we appreciate it. You know, we give them the old shaka back. It's there's a good relationship going on right now. I hope it stays that way. But I believe if you're courteous to one another, it will stay that way. As far as snowmobilers are concerned, they're paying for the grooming of that trail. So it would work against you to not treat them nicely. Same thing for ski resorts. If you go around complaining that the lift operators are jerks and you hate the ski patrol, that's not a good way to encourage getting the possibility of ever using a ski resort for rodeling. And I'm talking about a real Rodelbahn, not going down the open slope. I mean, come on. Do you want to be on the kiddie slope forever? You know, the degree of slope, for instance. If you've got something that's, I think the fun starts, that's personal, but I think the fun starts at about 8% grade. 12% grade, the whole thing starts getting interesting. 14% too. It starts getting interesting, and you have to stay under control, and you can't rely on a run out. You better be under control. And that's where I have shown a linked turn, almost like skis. I mean, they're linked. Can be a device to keep your speed under control, and you don't have to be one of those OMG, I hope there's a run out kind of guy. That's just a dumb way to do it. The whole idea behind this, and why I presented the information I did, is to rodel under control. Same thing with Rollenrodel. Rollenrodeling, you follow the rules of the road. There are going to be motor vehicles around you. Pedestrians, maybe. And courtesy should be the watchword there. Ultimate speed isn't the thing. If it is, well, I pity you. Because speed, you can put an ape on a rodel and send them down the hill. Rodels are made to follow the fall line. So they just go straight on down. And they'll hit a decent speed. So they stay on the rodel. They don't have to steer it. It'll go. So what I'm saying is it's pretty mindless. I mean, once you get over the speed thing, everybody's got to do it. I did it. Everybody else has done it. You have to see how fast it'll go. Once you realize that's the way things work, then the appeal of turns, sharp wherever you want them, slalom type turns, spur of the moment turns, that's where it's all at. That's why you'll see Karen and myself and the Conrads, for instance, going down through a slope that's full of service berries and bitter brush, sagebrush, and maybe a juniper or two. Because you play slalom with those things. That's what makes it fun. So let's get it. You don't need an open slope for this. These things turn on a dime once you learn how to do it. And I am trying to explain to you guys how that's done. And I'm also, I'll just throw this in there, I'm here to help. If you've got any questions about the thing, about how to do this stuff, just ask. I'll tell you how. It took me years to figure it out. I didn't come into this with complete knowledge in the beginning. That's why I went into it with such depth. I mean, being Joe Science, I have to understand things down to the gnat's eyebrow, which is exactly what I've done, and I keep doing, because the psychology of learning, mine and everybody else's, is important to me. Every time I instruct somebody on how they can operate a rodel, I learn something too. I think most teachers will tell you that. It's enjoyable. I like seeing people have their first success. The other thing too is that in this 10 years, there's been the first Rodelbahn, first commercial Rodelbahn in the USA has come about in Washington State. It's Bear Mountain. I encourage them all along. Right now, I think they're rather expensive. It'll cost you, if you're really lucky, I believe it's $50, $45 to $50 for one trip. And it's serviced by Snowcat. That's pretty expensive. But if it's an introduction that people can have that they find to be fun about learning how to rodel, and the track isn't all the greatest track in the world either. It's just, most of us that are experienced would just fall asleep going down there. But just the same, there are plenty of people that think they're screaming along at astronomical speeds and that the turns are tremendous. That's great. That's great. But anyway, it's a start. An alleged business has tried to start. I say alleged because selling rodels for $1,000, give me a break. Or thousands of dollars? Nah. I've said elsewhere, even right now, as of this posting, a really, really good Torgler sport rodel should cost you under $700. You're only taxed once, the VAT, that's just part of the price. And you have shipping to your door. You know it's never been used. You know it's pristine. You know it's yours. So I encourage it. There's no way right now that anybody can have a business selling rodels in this country without raising the price to an astronomical level. So it's up to you. You can go there if you want, but to me, I'm a penny pincher. I want a lot of bang for the buck. That's my advice. Also, don't tell anybody that you should own, or don't believe when somebody says, "Oh, if you don't have plastic on the bottom of your rodel with metal edges, that's the only way to go." Bull, bleep. I have experienced, I've shown, and I've talked to people in Europe that back me up on this. They've had the same observation. Stainless steel carves better than these. In the case of Torgler, they're called racing stainless steels. They can be waxed, and I show how. They set an edge far better than the racing version of those little mini skis, Belakshina. The Belakshina just don't carve the same. They're unbelievably faster, but speed doesn't do you any good if you can't make the corner. And this one guy in particular has a real hard time at that because he started as a beginner, got on those and thought that'd be just the whole best thing in the world. And I keep watching him bouncing off the windrows on the Rodelbahns on his videos. And I thought, nope. And you watch people who are accustomed to it, and they do it beautifully. So, beginners, as I've said in other videos, stay with the stainless steel till you figure you've acquired the skills. If you can do those linked turns, like I've shown, you've arrived. So maybe you can go on to something else. All right, so once again, I think rodeling, I've introduced it as a recreational sport. Apparently I'm the only one that has introduced it as a recreational sport since way back in 2012. I have no doubt that rodeling has been in this country in tiny little pockets somewhere, or people were using Schlittens. Now, I know Schlittens have been here because you can buy them on eBay, so-called vintage Schlitten. But those are the stiff things. Those are not the flexible rodel. And I have no doubt some of them were around when people came to this country, out of Germany and Switzerland, Austria. And See, around about 1930 was when the Rodel developed. So it makes sense that they would have dragged a Schlitten along with them, because even in mid-1960s in the Olympics, there is a sled that looks remarkably similar to our Rollenrodel of today. That was the Olympic luge of its time. And I mean, now we laugh at it, but it would have been perceived like the Olympic luge is now, so that it's the purview of only guys wearing Lycra and laying there like they're stiffly in a coffin. The one thing I want to make clear is that, because I have experienced a certain amount of plagiarism, is that my slogan, "Going where no sled has gone before," is mine. It's copyrighted. I'm not so worried about the happy rodeling at the end, but that I'm the first guy to say that, and I'm the first guy to say it consistently. So I don't particularly care for it when somebody thinks they're going to take it on as their own. I'm the first one to introduce some of the identifying parts of a rodel. I'm just trying to say that if you're going to come up with something of your own. Don't rip me off, because it won't be appreciated. I hate to bring up that note, but it turns out that because of the activity of some people, I have to. I'm going to protect my interests. I don't sell anything. It's just that, call it intellectual property. I enjoy being original. Nobody else has thought about this until I did. I just want everybody to go out and have fun. That's the whole premise. Once again, it's not about speed. It's not about how much money you spent, which can be a trap. I just want to make sure that people realize that it has nothing to do with image. These are not powder machines. I've said that many times before in other videos. These are meant for a hard surface. It's when the powder disappears, the rodelers come out. That's just the way it works. And I hope to tell you, rodelers are just happier than heck because of it. I can think of one place over, well, all right. I have a video on the subject, Teton Pass, the old pass road in Wyoming. Skiers use it so much, backcountry skiers use it so much that it does become boilerplate. And they make terrible remarks about how hard it becomes. And I've watched skiers come down through it, and skis aren't made for that, the way they have to, the path they have to take. And they swim. If you're a skier, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's not a whole lot you can do about preventing it. And so I watch these guys wildly coming down through there because they're using, chances are, soft skis because they're out for pow, man. Well, we don't care about pow. Rodelers care about ice because ice is nice. And so I encourage you all. Head out there and have some fun. Happy rodeling.